Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. I could not rest after I heard this news today, and we're going to go into that. And I figured, if I don't address this issue now, right, today, it's super, super important that we push this topic. And before I get to the topic for tonight's live stream, I just want to give my sponsor a shout out, KOVER. Let me write it down here. Cover.ai. Go to refer/rideshare professor. And guess what? You'll get 1 month from me. What is Cover? Truly the most important protection plan for gig workers out there. If your car ends up in the body shop after an accident, getting 80% of your salary. If you get deactivated for some crazy reason, William Connor, thank you so much. I've been waiting for my background check to clear with Lyft for 5 months. We'll get into that right now, right? If you get deactivated, right, and you're out of your weekly earnings, they pay 80% of that, right? If you get deactivated, they have a legal team that writes a letter to all of these gig companies and said, reactivate this individual immediately. You've wrongfully terminated. They go out there and fight for, you know what it costs to hire an attorney just to draw up one letter? $350, $400. They have the most amazing packages. You get 1 month free if you go through me. I've put the link there. I'll put it underneath the video. But now we got to get into the thick of things on this important topic, ladies and gentlemen. It's extremely important that I address this tonight because, if I sit and wait on this, we could have already made a difference. From tonight till tomorrow, every 24, 48 hours, we could already make a difference on this. And that is, we truly need background checks for riders, right? This girl today got 27 years in the slammer. She went into Walmart, she got a machete, she got a knife, and she literally chopped up this Uber driver. I was devastated when I heard that news, right? I mean, it could have been you, could have been me, right? And although she was 16 at the time, she's 19 now, right? It's the first time I've heard about the story. What was going on in her life? Did she have a criminal record? Did she have drug issues? There are too many people. Again, William Connor, thank you. High five for that donation. I appreciate it. I've been waiting for my background check to clear with Lyft for 5 months. The only way you get some resolution on that, William, is if you write a registered letter to the legal department at Lyft. You can Google the address and say, I demand clarity on my background check. I've been waiting for 5 months. I'm losing money. They will understand when you say I'm losing money. It means I might go after you for all those monies I've lost out because you've been sitting on my background check. Get your act together. So you got to write that letter, registered post, address it to the legal department. Just look it up. Go Lyft headquarters. You'll see that somewhere up in North California, and send it out. It's going to cost you a few bucks, but it's important, right? Because you'll wait another 5 months if you are not knocking their door down. Now, in the house, we have Hemet Valley Honey Company. Love that title. Got John Bauer. Good to see you, my friend. Hopefully you and your family are safe and staying healthy. Uberman Tampa. Awesome to have you here, brother. 2 things about background checks for riders. It will cost millions. And secondly, it ain't a crime until you're caught. So the one thing I do agree there, what he says, it'll cost millions of dollars, yes. But, if you look at these background companies like Checker, I mean, there are background checks that do it for a few dollars. Every rider should understand, and I'm appealing, I'm asking Dara and John Zimmer, to please think about this, to please set a budget aside. It's a one-time fee when they join Uber and Lyft. It's sort of like a precondition if you come on board, if you download the app, that you conduct a background check. And the reason should be simple. You know, you're expecting this from the driver, and we should expect this from the rider, right? What happened with this girl literally chopping up with a machete, right? And I have no idea how the 16-year-old got into his car in the first place, right? You have zero clue about these individuals that are in the back of your car. So every time you're at the steering wheel, you got to worry, you got to stress out, right? I mean, can you imagine the amount of PTSD that both men and women go through after, you know, seeing or hearing this story? This is important, folks. And the only way, Mark Routen's in the house, Jimmy Denson's in the house, Yego's in the house, the only way we get this across in social media is if you tweet, if you jump into those Facebook groups, if you make your own videos, if you circulate this video, whatever it is. But we need background checks. And I don't care if it's going to cost millions of dollars, right? Riders and passengers should be willing. And if they're not willing, those are not the candidates that should be on the platform. That weeds them right out there and then. They should be willing to stand up and say, you know what, I'll pay $10 for my quick background check, or $25, right? And it gets maybe worked in 50 cents on each trip. That's how they pay it off. But just as they are demanding this from us, that we don't have a criminal record, we don't have any crazy drug background, like drug records, crazy driving records, whatever it is, right? They expect squeaky clean drivers. We should demand the same from them. And that is, we should demand this from Uber and Lyft. So whether you start your own hashtags, time, because whatever we do collectively now, the pressure that we put on Uber and Lyft to maybe push for this, right? I remember how hard I pushed when it came for tipping. Uber didn't have it. I mentioned it in every single video, and definitely not the person that got tips passed, but collectively, because we put our energy behind it, it happened. Cool, genuine Phil's in the house. Hey, Torres, Lyft temporarily suspended my account due to inform them that I'm not driving due to COVID-19, which is not true at all. Wow. And again, the only way you get resolution on this is you pay your $70, Phil, you walk into the small claims court and you say, I was wrongfully deactivated. I'm losing money. I expect immediate activation. And that's what I'm going to do on Friday. In less than 48 hours, I'm in court with Uber, and I will demand or let the judge know that I want specific accounts activated again. Because they haven't given any reason for 12, 13 months why those accounts were deactivated. It's still with a specialized team, right? So it's a whole bogus racket that they are running. We will talk about this in the court system. We'll talk about this in social media. You got to bring that to them, Phil. That's the only way you push for change. That's the only way you get back into the mix, right? But as far as this topic goes, this is so important. This is the difference, my friends, between life and death. We have to know who is in our car. Too often, and this happens all throughout the United States, this specific thing today, well, it didn't happen today, but it happened 2 years ago or 3 years ago. This happened in Chicago. This could be in your town. You have someone who has a history of drug problems and it's on the record, they're in your car, maybe they got coked up or they're on something on opioids and they lose it and they just go for that driver, for he or she. Assault, rape, gunshots, murder. Do you honestly want these people in your car? Let's root them out, let's sniff them out. And the only way we get to do that is by putting relentless pressure on Uber and Lyft. We demand background checks for riders, passengers, right? And you got to bring that to social media. JJ says, I agree 100%. Thank you. Slick Nick, what's up, my brother? Kevin Wenzel, most customers that use the platforms every day going to work probably couldn't pass a background check. And listen, if they cannot pass a background check, they cannot be on the platform. I mean, if we don't pass a background check, right, as a driver, we don't get to drive. What's good for the goose, my friend, is good for the gander. If they demand it from us, we should be demanding it from them. We shouldn't be getting into the car with unknowns. Unknown criminal record, unknown drug record, unknown driving record, right? I mean, we could have crazies in our back seat. And we have to eliminate that risk. We have to reduce that risk. David Garcia's in the house. How are you? Right? NOS says, I agree, people with bad history or on probation. Thank you. It's just even probation, right? Without permission, shouldn't use the platform. 100% correct. But then again, that means more business for taxis, and Uber and Lyft do not like that. Look, driving in a taxi can also be a dangerous thing. I don't think they undergo vigorous background checks in taxis. But here's the thing. With Uber and Lyft, in order to come on that platform, you have to subject yourself to that criminal record, to the drug test, the driving records. You have to be clean. And if I'm clean and you clean and John Bauer's clean and Phil is clean and David Garcia's clean, so should David's passengers in his car, Kevin's passengers in his car, John's passengers in his cars, NOS passengers in the car. They should also be clean. And when I mean clean, not have any shady criminal record, maybe attempted murder. Who knows? Who knows? But they do not belong in the back of your car, right? If they would flat out fail a background check. They don't belong in there. You should not have to go through that stress. Jeffrey Omwanza says, hey, I'm a Lyft driver, but my account was permanently suspended because of COVID-19. Okay, somebody else just mentioned that, right? So you got to go down to a hub. You got to write a registered letter to Uber Legal. If they don't do anything about it, I'm sorry, you have to take them to small claims court. The thing about small claims court is that Uber and Lyft, the majority of the times they don't show up, right? And the judge can act on, say, hey, Your Honor, I don't have COVID-19. They suspended me because they claimed I had COVID-19. That is not the truth. I demand immediate reactivation. And you get the court to solidify that. And then you send that verdict, right, the minutes of that order to the company and tell them they have basically 30 days to comply. John Bauer says, because of COVID-19, what do you mean? So that, that's the same question I have. What do you mean? What do they mean when they say you got suspended because of COVID-19? You had COVID-19, or, I mean, what's the deal? The Stormy 1992 in the other feed says, please voice all of our opinions in the courtroom, Professor. Thank you for making the difference. And thank you, Stormy, for saying that, Stormy 1992. I I'm going to stand up here briefly. You know, when I go to court, the one thing I do is that I create a lot of poster boards that I hold up or hand. All of this evidence, I create 3 files. Every time I go into court, 3 files. I pay for good files. I don't want to look cheap, right? I give the judge a copy. I have a copy. And I will give the defendant a copy. And in there, I lay out my entire case, right? Always on my left side, I have my arguments, right? The bullet points. And then I always reference exhibits. So I can immediately refer to these exhibits, right? So I know, and I do them alphabetically, right? So I'm sitting there. I run this through my mind 10, 20 times, and it sticks. I know all my exhibits. I know my legal arguments. I have comeback lines on every single counterattack, right? And they have a copy as well. So when they see how much evidence I produce, right in the beginning, before we go into the courtroom, most of the time, ladies and gentlemen, in small claims court, I have 14 out of 14 victories. I've never lost in small claims, 14-0, not one defeat. I don't plan to lose on Friday. I'm trying to make this 15 out of 15, keep it a straight 15-0 record, right? Because when you hand the defendant your facts, your evidence that they know the judge gets, and they start going through that, they go, holy shit, this guy or this girl has done their homework, right? And they have a lot of different exhibits and facts that they're bringing to the courtroom, right? You know, I show them that I have 16 different social media channels. 12 of them, I believe, are YouTube channels, right? That there's 8,400 videos that I own. And if I want to leverage that power on the social media, they need to know that this issue needs to go away. Otherwise, it's going to be a sore thorn in their foot forever. And usually after they've looked at this file, usually after the judge, and I'm not going to go through that because I'm not going to give away any of my ammunition, but usually when the judge sees something like that, they say, okay, this person is prepared. This person has come to win. I come to win. I don't come to lose against Uber. That's why I say good luck on Friday, right? Because I have a lot of attack lines, and I can argue the case 3 ways. You will lose all 3 ways. If the rat gets away there, I have another rat trap set there. If the rat gets around that rat trap, I'm definitely going to trap him on the 3rd attack, right? So good luck. Anyways, that's just a little, you know, pumping myself up here. I guess Alex S is in the house. Dara is a vampire. It's like he should be part of Twilight. We should bring out a new Twilight, Alex, and Dara should be one of the vampires. He can't get enough stealing drivers' money and getting away with it. He sucks a lot of blood, that guy. He's a parasite. Downtown Tony West, will you represent yourself? Now, in the small claims court under $10,000, I will represent myself. And you can only file 1 small claims court every 12 months. When that 12-month line is over on December the 19th, I will file the next $10,000 case against them again, right? But in the meantime, in Superior Court, where I can go for $25,000 minimum, in this case, I'm asking for $1.1 million in damages. That's when I bring in the big guns, right? The attorneys. I'm not going to do that. They can fight those 2 cases. But if I'm very sure about my case, and it's a small case, I go and represent myself. In Latin, in pro per, in pro persona. You show up. You act as the attorney, right? Hurricane Laura, yeah, Mark Rout was talking about Hurricane Laura. Hurricane Laura. Laura happens to be my fiance, and Laura on Saturday is my wife, but not Hurricane Laura. Let me distinguish, right? Hurricane Laura is barreling into Louisiana and Texas. And they say by the time it hits the shores, it'll be about a Category 4. So they just can't get away from these hurricanes, man. They pound it every single year. They go through this. Got Mighty Heidi Dream Warrior in the house. He says hi to Uberman Tampa. We have, well, I mean, you guys should, you're more, I don't know if they will allow drivers in the courtroom, but you're more than welcome to come down to the courtroom. This one is going to be in Van Nuys, but because of COVID, I just think there's a very, very limited few people that get into the courtroom. I have no problem with you being there. But not to go off the topic, right? Somehow we got on to that topic of court, representing your case. There were 2 people that were deactivated because of COVID-19. Why were they deactivated COVID-19? And I was just trying to tell them that, or encourage them to go and stand up for themselves in small claims court. And listen up, folks. I have helped countless, and I'm literally talking about hundreds of drivers in the small claims process. I even have one person in the house here, Slick Nick. He's asked me many, many questions about his case. He has a hearing coming up very soon, right? So I will give you some really, really good pointers to win in small claims court. It's how you present your evidence. So as far as this goes, my friends, the background checks, and I really want to highlight the big ones. You know, what type of criminal record do you have, Mr. Rider or Mrs. Rider? Are you clean? Okay, great. Undergo a background check and show us that you're clean. Do you have a massive history of drugs? Are you getting into our car and you're completely coked up or on opiate that we have to worry, right? I mean, this girl, she was 16. She chopped this guy up with a knife and a machete, right? She could not have had a clean record. There's got to be something in her background. Maybe she was molested or abused as a child, and I feel very sorry for her if she was. This played out in her teens. She took revenge on some male, on some random male who happened to be an Uber driver, right? And I'm waiting for the facts, because something must have happened to this girl to trigger her, to get her to this point, right? So, you know, has she been in juvenile detention centers before? You know, was she a problem 12 or 13-year-old? Was he a problem 14-year-old? We need to know this. We truly need to know who is sitting right behind us. Listen, you driving, you have a mirror and you see this person in your mirror right behind you. You have to know who that person is. Now, a dash cam, ladies and gentlemen, is a must. I beg you not to save money on a dash cam. Buy yourself a dash cam. It is the best $50 to $200 you have ever invested. You're investing that into your safety. That there, with that little light, and I even have it with private clients. Is that a dash cam? Yes, it is. I only switch it on if something happens. So they know subliminally, don't try and F around in this car, right? The same thing if you're just getting into a regular Uber X or any car. and they see this dash cam or this light. Hey, is that a dash cam? Yes, it is. It starts filming if I activate it, which means you do something wrong, you will be on camera, right? So this individual, he didn't have a dash cam, right? She killed him, she chopped him up, she stole his car, and then she hit she couldn't drive, she's 16, she hit something, she abandoned the car, and she was hiding. Her whole shirt and everything was drenched in blood. The cops found her like this, right? But can you imagine, oh wow, this guy, they all chopped up and bloody to death in the car, has a dash cam running. What are the cops going to do? They're going to take that disc out, put it in a disc reader, check. Okay, good. There we go. Face, media, police, get check records, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. And then the word is out. That photo, that mugshot is out, and they're looking for that individual, right? You have to have a dash cam in your car. Why? Because so far, Uber and Lyft are not running background checks on passengers. And this little extra cost, it has to be factored into the equation to create the highest level of safety. They want to talk about safety, right? They always are, well, we're all about safety. We're all about safety. Well, guess what, Dara? Guess what, John? If you really want to do something about safety, in your November ballot, for example, in California, work it in that a certain amount of those funds goes towards background checks. Your company has to immediately generate the funds to run background checks. And if you lose riders in the process, so shall it be. But you keep everyone on the streets safe. This shouldn't happen. And that's why I said, you know what? I could make this video some other time. No, but I've got to make it now, because the sooner we start making these type of videos, the sooner others like Alex, like Kevin will go out there, maybe tweet, retweet, put a link in Facebook. The more we can populate this and get through to Dara and John, asking them for background checks on riders, the sooner we are going to make this environment safer, at least safer than the taxi business. Joffrey says, another problem with Lyft is that they don't have a way of communication. You can't call them. It takes a while before they reply to your text. So, Joffrey, I gave you an excellent tip earlier on, right? You look up the legal department of Lyft, you write and demand an explanation, and you send it registered post. To call, you're wasting your time. To look for an opener hub, you're wasting your time. You have to go straight to the heavy hitters, to senior and to special counsel. You can go on to linkedin.com, and you can put Lyft attorneys or Lyft safety attorneys or Lyft. They're all there. All the names are there, and you address them, right? By name, registered post. They're all there. I'm telling you right now, how did I find out Katie Weitzman, Randall Heimevicki, all of these attorneys I called out the other day by name? They're all on LinkedIn, right? So you have to put in the time. It would be, if you don't do this, you're giving up too early. Show them who's the boss. Like Isaac says, show them who has the power. You have the power, and you are calling them out, right? You have to do this. Jason Ferris says, hi, can you flush Logan Green, please? Yes, absolutely. We haven't flushed Logan Green for a long. Let me tell you something about Logan Green. Very stinky, very smelly, and very moist, and pretty dark in color, right? Logan, get your act together. John Zimmer, you two turds, get your act together. Safety. We call upon you, John. We call upon you, Logan. John, are you listening? Right, John? We need safety measures, John. We need background checks. And because you have failed time and time again to address this, we are now giving you the royal flusher. There you go. Adios, John. Adios, Logan Green. Until you make some changes. Maybe then we will allow you to reemerge. And just for pure satisfaction, for our live feed, we are going to flash you one more time. Adios. They're gone. They're gone, Jason. They're gone. They're deep, deep, deep down in the sewage pipes where they belong because they just don't care, right? John Bauer says, yes, Lyft is bad with their driver support. I tell them they are lucky, the only company with a lower quality support team than Uber. And here's the thing, John, we tend to get all frustrated and angry because we don't get any results from support. We don't get any help. And it's designed that way. It's designed to keep you in the hamster wheel. It is designed to never, ever get to any resolution. So you got to up the game. You got to bring the fight to them. And the only way, sadly, you do that is through small claims court or superior court. Now, small claims court is so cheap, so effective, so easy, right? There's only a few forms, like SC 100, maybe, right? Small claims 100 is the package that the plaintiff files. SC 120, that's the reply that the defendant, you can look up these names. It's all there. They're all in PDF. You print them out, you fill it out, you put in the amount, you put in the dates, you put in your address, you have someone serve it, a third party, go and serve it on the hub, you send it registered mail to Uber or Lyft, and you set a court date, right? And you fight for your rights. I remember on, I think it's the 3rd of September. Let me see if my memory if my memory is accurate. In my exhibits, right, I show exactly when I was at the hub, when I handed them the cease and desist, and when I brought up the word legal. They surrounded me with 5 security guards. I already knew this. I've already been through this once before. I just said to the security guards, don't touch me. Because if you touch me and push me, I have to act. And I'm not afraid to knock 5 people out. I really am not. Right? And there were 1 or 2 people bigger than me, but I have a different background. Right? I grew up with boxers. I've put many, many hours into the boxing gym. I just told the guy, and I looked him straight in the eye. I said, do not touch me. It'll not end well. Let me walk. Let me have my dignity and walk out of the hub. I will not make any noise. I've served my cease and desist, but I'm warning you, do not touch me. And their main security guy knew me, African-American guy, and he said, don't touch the guy. Don't touch him. So I just walked out, and they walked behind me, right? But the point that I want to bring across, there we go. On the top, 3rd of September, I got my dates right. So on the 3rd of September, I checked in at seat number 9, desk number 9 with Angela, right? I've got the times and everything here. It's Exhibit D in and I reference this exhibit. This is when I issued the cease and desist. On camera, if they want to check their records, they will see on their cameras, Your Honor, that they marched me out. Why? Because I started talking legal, and they don't like legal. So they push you out, right? And if the courts would take the time to investigate all the Uber hubs, they will see that a common thread in these ratings, and usually it's 2-star, 3-star ratings that the people give after they've visited the hub, is that the security gets too involved in the matters, because as you're trying to defend yourself in the hub or trying to fight for your money back, they don't like that. They summons the security and they march you out. I've read this in Chicago. It's happened in New York. It's happened in Miami. It's happened in Los Angeles. This is a common theme. It's the same national security company who gets specific orders from the top, from Uber, when they bring up legal, when the driver threatens legal recourse, march him out. It's a common theme. And what you got to do is you have to present your facts, right? So thanks for bringing that up, because I get to exercise my mind. Get the facts straight, the dates straight, etc., and make your case. Sean Anand's in the house. He goes, hello, Heloptic Vase. Okay, I'm not quite following you there, but Mr. Mark Vega, hey, what's up, community? I don't know if they look shady. I just cancel, not risking anything. Okay, good. So I like that. So I like Mark Vega's approach. If his gut feeling, his solar plexus, if he thinks they are shady, if he thinks there is something wrong, you cancel, right? That's good. Because you know what? Your gut never fails you. If something is off, it usually is off. So what Mark Vegas does, which is the right thing, says, this doesn't look right. This doesn't feel right. I'm canceling. And by canceling, he's not opening up a potential problem. Someone who potentially has a criminal background record, someone who potentially has multiple drug records, right? He senses that and he says, nope, not today, buddy. And he goes, I like your thinking. Oh, Heloptic Wins is in the house. He gave Trump 2020 a shout out. I'll allow you that one shout out. That's it. You spoke your mind. If somebody wants to counter with Biden 2020, great. But if you're here just to push your slogan, I'll kick you out. Let me make it very clear, Heloptic. You'll have one little hurrah. So I'll let you say that once. Not going to fault you. But if you're here to mass advertise or troll or whatever, I act very quickly. Ask the room, ask the house. But I'm going to give you your freedom to express who you obviously going to vote for. Dave Wilson's in the house. Welcome you. Hopefully everything's okay. So I was looking forward to some big NBA games today, and guess what? Everything got canceled and postponed, right? And a brave move, a bold move by the Milwaukee Bucks. I believe the right move. So White Rider says, if you're white and you cancel on a non-white for fear of danger, you could lose your job through accusation of racism. That accusation might come flying back at you, yeah. Hey, you cancel me, you're racist. I'm not going to deny that possibility exists, right? But whether it's, let's just say, whether it's a white person canceling on an African-American, whether it's an African-American person canceling on a white person, the bottom line is you got into this business knowing that anyone and everyone can be in your car, right? This is not a job. If you're trying to get into this job and you're a white person and you're going to cancel on every African-American, get out of the job. Right, then you are probably a racist, right? But if you think that something is off, right? If the person, doesn't matter if they're black or white, gets in your car, maybe they're all crazed up or angry, a lot of swearing, or you hear it outside of your car, you cancel and you drive off, then you can always follow it up with a message to Uber. It looked like the individual or the potential passenger was raging, was in tremendous anger. I did not want to take a chance. I feared for my life. I canceled. I don't think that you would be stamped as a racist at that point. But don't get into the job, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not willing to drive every color, every religion, right? You should never, ever judge the person who's in the back of your car because they're paying. But I do feel that we should be able to judge their background check, that we should have the right to know whoever you are. And again, that doesn't matter what color, what nationality, what religion. The question is, what is your background check like, right? What is your background check like? Have you, been locked up or because you stabbed someone, or I don't know, because you're a big drug dealer? We need to know that. We have a right to know that. So, okay, so let's get into this, because this is Jared Kamel. You can get canceled for anything, which is true. But now, White Rider says, I should have canceled on a black guy, but I didn't. He left a bag in my car, never came back to get it. The only thing in that bag was a giant knife, and he sat in the front seat. He had a very aggressive disposition. So, what you telling me, the guy got into your car with a big bag, you had no idea what was in the bag, you found out later there was a knife in the bag, right? You didn't cancel on him because you felt that he had a very aggressive disposition. So what that tells me is that you probably were careful. You probably were not trying to pick a fight with the wrong individual. He was already in your car, and I guess you did the right thing. But let's say White Rider, and I mean, you could be Black Rider, Pink Rider, Yellow Rider, right? Let's say you pull up in Hollywood, there's your passenger with a big bag, he's shouting at others, and say, hey, who's the one that ordered the, just to check, who's the one that ordered the Uber? Hey, it's me, just wait 1 more minute. Cancel. You already have all the language you need. Aggression, outside of the car, cancel, leave. It's very hard to cancel once the individual's in the car. If you feel that something is off, then you have to be at full alert, which means you may have to take off your seat belt if you have to get out of the car, right? You should have your phone ready. You should be ready for anything. And you keep your eye on him at all times. Don't get into a verbal fight. Don't get into a pissing match, right? Now, that individual, you said he left the bag in the car and there was a knife in the car. That's information the police needs or Uber needs, right? You take photos, you send it, and they'll block that rider. They'll take that rider off the platform. You'll never be matched with that individual again. Or the cops can do some. The cops have the fingerprints and that on the knife, right? But that's the type of person who would have probably failed a criminal background check, who probably has some past criminal record and should not be in your car. So that Mr. WR, White Rider, that individual, right, should have been caught out in the system, in the background check system, and should not have been in your car. Rick Nelson says, I cancel if they complain about how much time it's taking me to get them. Good. Exactly. You don't need that. White Rider, I'm working with you, my brother. Just trying to, and again, like I said, I don't care if it says White Rider, Black Rider, Pink Rider, or Yellow Rider. We're all riders. You're entitled to that YouTube name. You're very courteous. You're coming up with good points, with great discussion points, and it's your type of input and the input of others that helps us make this system better. And this is what Dara and Logan Green and John Zimmer need to understand. that most of the safety issues, the big issues, we are actually solving for them. If they would only listen, if they would only come into the room and experience what you have to go through, knife in a bag, this scenario, that scenario, so that they understand that this is extremely important. Because if we would spend the money here, we wouldn't be facing those type of scenarios. White rider or black rider should never be put into that type of scenario where he or she has to fear for their life, right? So this is something that Dara, John, and Logan, look, we pounded you, we pounded you, we pounded you because you did not have a tipping platform. Lyft had the tipping platform, you didn't. And we just relentlessly went after you in social media until you brought out the tipping platform. And it was good. It was the right thing to do. This is also the right thing to do, is to set some monies aside and iron out, weed out the problem kids, the problemos, right? Weed them out because they should not be in the car. That driver should not have been hacked up by this lady with a knife and a machete. Breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. Shouldn't happen. Oh, you know, I get it now, White Rider. It's like Night Rider, right? And David Hasselhoff, by the way, is my private client. I've driven David Hasselhoff many, many times. I have pictures. I've shown the community. He's a tall guy. He's way taller than I am. He calls me Mr. Africa. He's married to a Welsh lady. Driven David many, many times. Great, great guy, the real Night Rider. But I think it's really cool because now I understand it, and thank you for clarifying. He calls himself the White Rider because it's the same car as the Night Rider, but in white. I love it. I love it. Thank you. And you see, it was wrong of me to assume that you were trying to stamp yourself as the White Rider or the Black Rider or the yellow driver. Thank you for opening up my eyes, my friend. Yeah, he's a character of note. I was taking David Hasselhoff to a film shoot for a TV commercial that he was shooting for Danish product, and the Danish people had brought over all their camera people and that. They set up in Hollywood. They'd rented a big house, and they were shooting a commercial there. I was there the whole day. On the way, David was complaining about not feeling very well and that these tablets were having like too much side effects on him. And I said, listen, why don't you just get the natural equivalent, get this, this, and this? Right? He said, seriously? I said, yeah, just try it out. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. One of the things that I'd recommended was a specific type of calming tea. I realized I had a lot of anxiety. So I dropped him off. He said, Torsten, Mr. Africa, if you can go and get these for me, charge me for all the extra time and everything, and come to the set. No problem, David will do. So I went down. I got him a couple of things that I thought were important for him. I brought it back. They were shooting. He sees me and he goes, hey, everyone, let me introduce you. This is Mr. Africa, my friend, my driver. He included me. I met all the Danes, had a fantastic time, left there, I think, 10, 11 o'clock at night. David texts me 24 hours later and said, listen, I started taking this stuff, and wow, this tea is very, very calming. And again, I think 4 or 5 days later, wow, I am feeling an improvement, right? And I went and I probably bought $90, $100 worth of stuff. Good vitamin Bs, just stuff to address anxiety in the nervous system. And, you help each other out in life. That's all I can say. I think that's the short version. Dennis Torres is in the house, but most part-time drivers think Uber and Lyft cares about them, and we are proud to vote yes on Prop 22. Oh, and are proud to vote. Yeah. I mean, Dennis, it's because, and again, whether you yes or no, I know how Dennis is going to vote, but for the people who are voting yes on 22, all I ask is that you really understand what you are voting for, because to me, it sounds like a lot of the people don't know what they are voting for. I want to show a great picture, a fun picture. Dennis will know what I'm talking about. It's a problem if you have thousands and thousands and thousands of photos. Come on, come on, come on. You literally have thousands of pictures here. Where is this picture that I want to show Dennis? Because this is how I remember Dennis. There we go. Now we're talking. Almost there, Dennis. There's Dennis, ready to knock anyone out at Uber or Lyft that gives him trouble. And there's my buddy Ruben in the middle. We will. Love this picture. The fight, the spirit, the smile, there he is. Good man. So, if we can just smash that like button, everyone. Abstract Jimmy says Ruben rocks. Dennis says, yep, that's me, that's him. He knows. He knows what those gloves can do. Now, Slick Nick also met Dennis, right, at the party, I believe. And listen, when COVID's over, we're going to throw a big fat party and everyone has to come, whether we do one in Vegas, one in LA. Listen, the sooner we can get this COVID nonsense behind us, the sooner we can get a big fat party organized, right? We got to do it, my friends. COVID has to be completely over, done, finito, finished, and then we party like it's 1999. The vodka will flow, the tequila will flow, the champagne will flow, the red wine will flow, the beer will flow, everything will flow. We need a party, guys, because we've been through some rather stressful, trying times. And it's time for a big, big, big party. That's all I can say. I'm ready for a big party. Now, if it's early 2021, I don't know when this big party is, but it is going to happen. Mark my words, we are going to celebrate. We are going to celebrate. Dennis Torres says he's been boxing for 5 years. Absolutely. Love it. Great sport. Dennis, I got to take you down to the Wild Card in Santa Monica in Hollywood and introduce you to some people. I know Freddie Roach very, very well. I've actually brought 2 excellent fighters that were in Freddie Roach's stable for a while. I introduced them. There were South African fighters on the rise. And I said, Freddie, you got to meet Peter Smith. You got to meet Chris Van Heerden. Chris Van Heerden is probably, listen to this, Dennis, my buddy Chris Van Heerden is probably going to fight Crawford, right? Crawford soon in November. What's Crawford's first name? That's my South African friend, Chris van Heerden. And Chris van Heerden plots ring return targets, top names. He wants to fight. Where is he? Thanks, Phil. Says congratulations on the marriage. This Saturday. What's Crawford's name, man? Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford. Oh, I love Ruiz. I think Ruiz is the most sweetest soul. I mean, Ruiz to me is like, I don't know, he's a fierce boxer, but in my eyes, he's like an angel. He is just the sweetest person. His personality, he's so kind, so humble. I can't wait for the next Ruiz fight. And he should have a trilogy with Joshua. I mean, first one, lost the second one. They owe him a trilogy. And and all I know about Ruiz is that he's lost a lot of weight and he's looking really good. He was not in great shape in the second fight, but he is apparently lost a ton of weight and he's ready. He's hungry. Anonymous Giraffes in the house. He says, good day, Torsten. Are you currently doing your own private rides for your private clients? The answer is yes. If yes, have you put any kind of plastic separation or partition in your vehicle? So my answer to that is that my private trips are probably down 70%, but I know my private clients well, almost like friends, right? They're not traveling abroad, going on holidays. I know their habits. I know that they expect me to have the car sanitized. They will always get in the car with their masks on. They always keep their hands clean. We know each other, and I don't do the rideshare partition. I've done it on a few trips where I did not know the individual. On the individuals that I know, I don't have the rideshare partition up. John Bauer says, at the presser, he ignores the media and says, Mom, we made it. Everything will be different now. God, he's a sweetheart. I love him. He's amazing. And he takes care of his family. He takes care of his family. And this guy, by the way, is a good South African friend of mine, man. This guy is, you can look him up, Chris van Heerden, is just a phenomenal fighter. And I think since he's been in the United States, he moved to Santa Monica. I got a couple of press releases for him in newspapers, helped him a bit. But he's fought some big guys. You know, he fought Ricky Hatton, knocked him out. He's fought some big names. He fought Errol Spence. Anybody know Errol Spence? Chris van Heerden took Errol Spence, I think, 8 or 9 rounds, but Errol Spence knocked Chris down. Technical knockout. But Chris van Heerden gave Errol Spence a run for his money in his prime. Errol Spence used to knock people out in the first, second, or third round. The first time he went 8 rounds with someone, and that was against my buddy Chris van Heerden. All right, my friends, we did a lot of boxing talk. We did legal talk. We're right up on the hour. We're going to finish up on 60 minutes. Please turn to social media. Please put the pressure on them. Whatever you want to tweet out there, whatever you want to say in a Facebook group, but we should start pushing for this, right? We should start pushing for background checks for riders. We do it already, so should they, right? Thank you, everyone. Dennis Torres says everything might be different after November. We shall see what happens in on November the 4th, right? We shall see, right? November the 3rd, big day, yes or no on 21. Do we have a new president? Do we get the old? I mean, November the 4th is a big day, folks. We wake up to a lot of news. There it is, November the 4th. Dennis said it. That date is a muy, muy, muy importante, right? Love you all. Got to go. Triss has got to go. Everyone has got to go. Get some rest, folks. And just do me a favor. Push something out on social media. It doesn't have to be tonight. If you get a chance tomorrow, got Shine 55 and George Bustos in the other room. I acknowledge you. I welcome you. Hope you and your families are safe. Everyone in this room, hope you and your families are safe. Please take care of yourselves. Drive safe. And do everything it takes to get to 2021. God bless you all. Thank you. And